Too often, people short on cash and facing unexpected expenses turn to payday lenders. This one charges 600% interest. You heard me right, 600%. But Vincentians in Austin, Texas prefer a different way, as Michelle Wargo explains.
Nothing in comparison to these payday loans. I've never experienced anything like it.
Sean Wetzel speaks from experience. Like many Americans, this Austin, Texas man found himself in financial distress after unexpected life events left him drowning in debt. So he ended up looking for help in an all-too-common place, from a payday lender. The loans are also sometimes referred to as cash advances, and often come with astronomical interest rates.
Took care of my grandmother. I helped take care of my grandmother with my mother, as a matter of fact, up until she passed in December, almost Christmas time. So it's been a struggle catching up. So it's just, from that point, I got behind on things. I borrowed, well, they got me $600 at first, and then $600 more about a month and a half later, because I thought I was gonna be able to pay that off. And then life came along, and I had car issues that, two cars, both of them failing pretty majorly.
Texans borrow more than $3 billion annually from payday lenders, not realizing that paying back those loans is a seemingly impossible task because of sky-high interest rates.
The payment, well, on $1,200 as it came to be, it was about $264 every 2 weeks.
He would be very typical, yes. Yes, he just got caught up in a need and was desperate and just took a loan he shouldn't have.
Sandra Dean has heard stories like Sean's time and again. A Vincentian with the conference at St. Helen Catholic Church in Georgetown, Texas, she's seen people make the mistake of taking these loans and not knowing how to escape. This is where the Council of Austin's Predatory Loan Conversion Program comes in. With the help from area credit unions, it helps people pay off their high-interest loans by securing much more reasonable low-interest loans.
I don't know of anything that can help, in many cases, much more than this. Because then they can gather their finances, they can pay their utilities, pay their rent. But with this thing hanging over their head, it's just impossible.
These people, when they get these loans paid off, I mean, they cry. They hug you, they send you emails to tell you how glad they are just to get out of these things.
Vincentian Matt Poger oversees the Predatory Loan Program and is proud of how the society worked with Sean.
He's working from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 at night. But he brings good money home, but guess what? He got in a situation where he needed some funds, and he went to a payday loan place to help take care of some issues that he had. And here he got caught up in a payday loan with almost 600%, interest on it.
In Austin and across the country, payday lenders attract people of all races, ages, education, and even all income levels.
I was going through a divorce and went from two incomes to one income. Could not make my car payment and other things. So that's when it all happened, that I went to a payday loan.
Martina Davila is another Texan who received help from St. Vincent de Paul when payday loans put her in financial straits.
I heard about it through a friend at work who we were just talking about what I had done, and then she just raised her eyebrows and said, "Oh, you're never going to get out of it." And so then she said, "Well, why don't you go to St. Vincent de Paul? Because they have this, they can loan you the money."
Martina says the process was easy, especially working closely with Vincentians who treated her with dignity and respect.
Actually, it was very simple. They put me in contact with a conference nearest to where I lived, and they did the intake, and we met, and everything was explained to me. And when I thought it was going to be very difficult, and first of all, asking for a loan, everybody knowing your business, and a bigger aspect of it. But they made me feel very comfortable. They were really nice, and they walked me through the whole process.
What we find is that I would say as much as 70% of the time, people are coming to us for rent help, for utility help, for food help, because they have a number of payday loans and they're sweeping their accounts on a monthly basis. So it is insidious in this community. It is the only place that many people have for ready cash.
James Davis is clearly passionate about what predatory loans are doing to the vulnerable in Austin. The spiritual advisor for the Diocesan Council of Austin says the Society's predatory loan program helps foster long-term solutions to people in need.
We have always made room for both the systemic needs and the individual emergent needs. And this is making our Vincentians much more aware of that. But you feel like you can really make a difference once you find out they do have 3 or 4 payday loans, and that's what's causing them to call you repeatedly for help with rent. It puts a piece of the puzzle together for the Vincentian, and I think it gives us a little bit more direction around how we can help.
Building relationships for the long term reflects how Vincentians walk with those in need. At the same time, it's enhancing the spirituality of those aiding their brothers and sisters.
For a Catholic Christian, if we really follow the pathway of Jesus Christ, it's a pathway of emptying yourself of your own ego, the pieces of you that get in the way of love, so that you can fill up with the gratuitous love of Jesus Christ and let it pour out gratuitously to the neighbor in need.
Spiritually, that's what we're called to do, and it's hard to put it into words, I suppose, how you get more out of it. It's hard to put into words, but one has to just experience helping someone who's greatly in need to know it's a humbling experience. It's not an ego-driven experience. It's very humbling to try to get down and talk about the payday loan and have them come forward and tell you what really happened. You've got to put your own ego aside and just listen. And that's powerful stuff.
And for those who received a financial lifeline, they often show their gratitude by helping others as well.
Every representative from St. Vincent de Paul has treated me with the utmost respect and very kind. I'm very grateful. It was a shot in the arm for me to kind of look, to be more positive. I'll tell you that for sure.
I feel relief, very much so. I'm very grateful for the Vincentians, and that's how I learned about all their spirituality, you know. That was the first time that I was in need and somebody turned to help me. Actually, I ended up applying for a job at the St. Vincent de Paul Society Council office, and that's how I got here.
Pulling people out of a black hole of debt and despair while putting them on a new path in life. Just another example of how the Society makes a difference in people's lives. For Our Faith in Action, today's Society of St. Vincent de Paul, I'm Michelle Wargo.
Thank you, Michelle. Vincentians in Austin tell us that since the program's inception in 2014, nearly 80% of the people that they have helped escape those high-interest payday loans have gone on to pay it forward by making good on their debt. We leave you with these words from St. Vincent de Paul, who said, "Say little, do much." Those are words that Vincentians here and around the country live by.